Most people think tea is something you practice, but the moment it actually begins is the moment they walk away. In the spring series, we spent a lot of time building something. We talked about where tea comes from, how awareness begins, and what it means to slow down. And those things matter because without that foundation, this part really doesn't make sense. But at some point, there's a shift, and it's not a big moment, it's actually very quiet. You stop thinking about tea as something you need to remember to do, drink tea, and it starts to show up in the middle of your day. It's not planned, not structured, just there. And I think this is where a lot of people get stuck because they've learned tea as a practice, but they haven't yet experienced what it feels like when it becomes part of your life. I remember a morning, and it wasn't a formal tea session. There was no big setup here at my tea table. I didn't sit down with intention. I just had a cup. And I stepped outside for a moment. Nothing special was happening. There was no insight or big realization, but I noticed something very simple. I wasn't rushing. And that might sound small, but it felt different. Because usually, even when we're doing something calm, there's still a part of us that's already moving ahead. Our mind is already a step or two down the line of what needs to be done next. And that planning, that holding tension, we don't even really realize is there. With that cup, I wasn't doing any of that. I didn't feel any of that tension. And that's when I started to understand tea isn't just something you practice, it's something that changes how you move through everything else. And I think one of the biggest misunderstandings is this: people believe tea lives in the ritual, in the setup, in the tools, in the steps. And those things are important. They help you learn. They give you structure. They actually help to teach you to be in the moment. But they're not the point. Because if tea only exists when everything is set up perfectly, then it never actually becomes part of your life. It becomes something separate, something you go do. So living tea is much simpler than people expect. It looks like holding your cup and actually feeling it in your hands, taking that sip, and immediately not reaching for your phone. It's standing by a window and letting yourself stay there for just a few seconds longer. It's not dramatic. It's not impressive, but it's real. So if you have tea with you now, you can follow this. If not, just listen. Before you take a sip, just pause. Not in a forced way, but just stop for a moment. What can you hear right now? Is there movement around you, or is it still? Now bring your attention to your cup. Notice the weight of the cup, the temperature. There's something very grounding about holding something warm. Now, take a sip. And instead of focusing on the taste, just feel it. Where do you notice it first? Your mouth, your tongue, your hands, your throat, your body, your mind. Where do you notice it first? And then this is the part that matters the most. Don't do anything. Don't reach for another sip. Don't adjust. Don't move on. Just stay here in this moment. That moment right there is where tea begins to change something. Not when you prepare it, not even when you drink it, but after, when nothing else is happening. And people miss it because we're so used to moving on. And this is why summer matters. Spring teaches you to see. Summer asks, can you stay? Not just here, but in your life, in conversations, in quiet moments, in things that don't demand your attention. So I'll leave you with something to notice. Where in your day do you immediately move on? Not because you have to, but because it's a habit. And what happens? If you don't, what happens? You don't need to change everything. Just one cup, one moment, stayed in a little longer. If you'd like to go deeper into this practice, we've created full tea lessons available on our website and through Patreon, where everything is structured in a way that you can return to it at any time. There are 7 main courses or 7 main classes in our tea course. There's an introduction to the 6 types of Chinese tea, and then there is a class for each tea that goes in depth. It is more than just how to recognize a tea, how to prepare it, how to buy it. It's about what that tea represents in Chinese culture, its importance in various aspects, and helps with mindfulness. It's also a course that if you are traveling or working in China or studying, this will help you understand the importance of tea in Chinese culture and how you can integrate it into your life. You can also watch our Spring Series podcast on YouTube. These are timeless. Even though they're seasonal, they are timeless. And so feel free to watch the Spring Series. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube, where we will be putting out shorts and pictures for our summer series. We already have them for the Spring Series out. And they are just added value and content to the teachings here and to our courses. And so our Instagram, we are at Fairy Crane Cha, C-H-A, Fairy Crane Cha. On Pinterest, we're at Fairy Crane Tea, YouTube at Fairy Crane Tea. And I just want to say thank you for taking your time to be here with us today. And I hope you enjoy your next cup of tea. This is the Fairy Crane Tea podcast, Tea Talk with Dawn. I'm Dawn, and I'll see you in the next episode.